Breaking news coming in, the Prime Minister has consoled Vinesh Phogat and has, in his first statement on X, the Prime Minister said that Vinesh, you are the nation's pride and you epitomize resilience. It is a heartwarming word of assurance for Vinesh Phogat coming in from the Prime Minister. We also have more details which we'll run right after this at this point, because it seems the Prime Minister's efforts in this regard were not limited to just putting out a tweet on X, because what sources are also telling us is that the Prime Minister has spoken to IOA chief. Sources also say that the Prime Minister has discussed India's options with PT Usha and has urged the IOA chief to lodge a strong protest. So both those news breaks coming in at this point from the Prime Minister. So that's the news as well. We understand that according to our sources that the Prime Minister wanted to not leave any options on the table at this point, and as a result, the Prime Minister spoke very strongly to PT Usha in order to try and ensure that there was no stone unturned in order to try and ensure justice for Vinesh. Let me go across to my colleague Himanshu, who's joining us from the news center. Himanshu, obviously kudos to the Prime Minister for trying his level best to do it, but as we often know, when it comes to weighing restrictions, the rules are absolute and there's generally very little scope for an appeal.
Absolutely, Ritangshu. I mean, the Prime Minister, commendable as it is that he's trying to intervene at his level, but it really wouldn't make a difference. As we all know, the Olympic Charter is very clear. The rules are very clear. A finalist, a medal bout contender, has to go for a weigh-in on the eve of the match, on the morning of the bout. And in Vinesh's case, as we are being told that after her semi-final bout, because she had taken a lot of replenishments, she was almost 2 kgs overweight. She did try to sweat it out through the night, but on the morning of the match, she still was about 100 grams overweight. And in that case, the rules are clear that if the finalist is unable to make the weight requirement, they automatically stand disqualified. So in this particular case, the matter now is with the IOA and the IOC to lodge a formal appeal, but realistically speaking, we do not think that will make much of a difference in terms of what it means for the medal standings, as we have now been told that there will not be a silver medal in this category, because this is not a doping violation, so there will be a gold medal. And both the semi-finalists will now get a bronze medal. So the silver medal is being eliminated entirely from this competition because it's not a doping violation and a weight violation. That's why none of the losing wrestlers are being made to step up. But tough day for Indian sports. A very, very heartbreaking day for fans. I mean, this is a cruel twist of fate. We are all gutted, but there's really not much that anybody can do at this point of time, Ritangshu.
Indeed, and the only thing we can hope was to give strength and support to Vinesh so that she rises back with a vengeance, which has been the story of her career so far. But Himanshu, there are two questions which are doing the rounds on social media, and perhaps you could clarify that for our viewers. Number one, there is a theory doing the rounds that if an athlete is known to be, there's a suspicion for the local contingent that an athlete is overweight, which, as you pointed out, was the case with Vinesh Phogat, because she was 2 kgs reportedly overnight last night after her bouts. The safer, perhaps the most sensible thing for the IOA to do would have been to declare her injured so that she would at least come out with a silver medal and forfeit a gold medal match. Is that really a possibility?
Ritangshu, actually, there are a lot of grays right now and a lot of conspiracy theories and a lot of speculation going around. But what we understand, the UWW rules, which are aligned with the Olympic Charter and the IOC rules, are very clear that if a medal contender has to appear for the medal bout, they have to mandatorily go in for the weigh-in. In case they are not able to make the weigh-in, they automatically stand disqualified. Whether injury allows you that leeway and that escape path to come away with the silver is not clear as of now. But in case of Vinesh, because her team and her support staff were clearly aware that 2 kgs is a tough task to lose overnight, they did not, to what we understand, did not appear for the weigh-in at the designated hour. And in that case, there was really very little that the Olympic body could have done apart from going by the rules and disqualifying her. So this is what the situation is at this point of time. This is how things stand. I do not think feigning an injury would have really helped because the rules are very clear both from the wrestling body and from the Olympic Association.
Now, Himanshu, we understand that for Vinesh, meeting the weight limit had always been a struggle because she was used to always, she had traditionally competed in the 53 kg category, and it had also been a challenge for her even to qualify for the Olympics to meet the 50 kg limit at this point here. Uh, why was this done? And clearly, this was a challenge which, of course, Vinesh was expecting beyond just the challenges on the ring mat.
Absolutely, Ritangshu. I mean, the weight category is one of the longest running dangles, so to speak, in Indian wrestling. If I could take you back a few years, Sushil Kumar, right now he is ignominiously in jail for a crime. But back then, India's most lauded wrestler had a problems with his weight category. Because of discontinuation of his weight category at the Olympics, he decided to move down category, and then the conflict with Narsingh Yadav, the very infamous conflict with Narsingh Yadav, when first Brij Bhushan Sharan appeared on the stage and in media headlines. And that is when the weight category issue became really contentious in Indian sports. Even when we talk about Vinesh, yes, she has been a star performer in the 53 kg category, but Antim Mangal has been doing phenomenally well. And even in some of the earlier national bouts and state level bouts, she had bested Vinesh. So she was being asked, Vinesh had been asked to go down a notch, move to the 50 kg category. That created its own ripples and controversies. But Antim Pangal was the strongest candidate and the contender in the 53 kg category. And ever since Vinesh did lose those couple of kgs and moved down, she has been struggling to maintain her weight. She did phenomenally well at the nationals and the trials as well.
Yep.
But this was always going to be something that she would struggle with throughout this competition. There was reports that even in the earlier match preliminary weigh-in, she had barely made the cut. I mean, we are being told that she was 49.9 because you have to go for a weigh-in twice at the Olympics, first during the preliminary rounds and then during the medal rounds. And even during the initial rounds, she had barely made the cut. So yes, the weight was a big challenge for her. She did get the better of her opponents on the mat, but off the mat, she couldn't, unfortunately, do it.
Absolutely. Himanshu, thanks a lot for joining us. We really value your perspectives as well. I'm also being joined right now by Gaurav Gupta, prominent sports journalist as well. Gaurav, thanks for joining us on Mirror now. Your first reaction at this point, it is an unbelievable heartbreak here, something which is dashed the hopes of 1.4 billions. But it's very important, I feel, at this point at the outset, that this is within the rules and the rules generally are inflexible. So whether these are conspiracies of racism, of Europeans having a inferiority complex against Indians, I don't think really apply in this case, because as my colleague Himanshu was telling us, this had been a challenge and a threat for Vinesh Phogat right from the beginning.
Well, absolutely. This was a huge challenge for her to maintain her weight category. And I would say that somewhere, she also, is responsible for not having stuck to the weight that was required of her. But it's majorly her team's fault for not having paid attention to that throughout. And I think the fault on part of the entire Indian Olympic mission, the chef de mission, Gagan Narang, the IOA chief, PT Usha, everybody should have been careful about this issue because it is extremely heartbreaking and extremely embarrassing that suddenly now she has been knocked out, disqualified on the basis of being overweight. And WFI, everybody is responsible for this mess. Well, that whether it was deliberately done to scuttle her medal chances. Whatever, at the end of the day, this is turning out to be Jinx Olympics for India. In hockey, we saw a decision against Amit Rohidas, and he was suspended for the semi-final, and we lost the semi-final to Germany 3-2. Then Nishant Dev was his bout was judged very unfairly, and despite hammering his opponent through and through, he lost. He was adjudged to have lost 4-1. So there have been various questions around the officiating and the refereeing and the decisions, which I feel have been against India primarily, because India is slowly emerging as a sporting power, is what I feel. But still, at the end of the day, Vinesh's team deserves a lot of flack for what has happened, and the IOA officials and the whoever is there, and whoever has been involved in this whole fracas. because it is extremely embarrassing and heartbreaking. And such a good sports story, such a good success story has been completely spoiled now. For a few kilogram, for a few grams. Extremely tragic and extremely sad and devastating. For most of all for Vinesh, what she would have gone through in the past 24 hours, only she knows. So extremely heartbreaking and
Yeah,
definitely
and
not a good time to be an Indian
I'm sure
sports
from a
fan.
performance point of view, I'm sure there isn't much of a difference that 100 grams does. But when it comes to weighing and measurement limits in all sports, whether it be athletics or whether it be motor racing, these rules are sacrosanct, Gaurav. But you hit the nail on the head here. There have been questionable decisions in terms of adjudication and judges' decisions against India throughout Olympics, but that is a separate debate. Here, it's an absolute violation in terms of a very black and white transgression here. Culpability then lies with the IOA officials and with the WFI officials here. We all know the background of Vinesh versus WFI going into this entire event, but the problem was there from the beginning, forcing her to go down to a weighing limit which is not her forte, which meant that there was a constant challenge always to live up to or at least be within the 50 kg limit. And then obviously, Gaurav, at this point, should culpability then come down to the IOA, because were there ways in which this could have been handled a bit more smarter, a bit better?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. WFI and IOA. How the hell was she allowed to? Was she forced to go in a weight category below whatever where she's best at? Because she was always going to be a medal prospect, whether it was 50 or 53. She was possibly a gold medal prospect with the kind of experience and skills that she has. She's absolutely brilliant on the mat, that we've all seen, and right through her career. So why was she forced to go down? I mean, I can understand Amit Pangal, being extremely good in the not Amit Pangal, Antim Pangal being extremely good in a weight category, but then still it wasn't a wise decision to have done that, and that it has clearly backfired very badly, and that reflects poorly on WFI, IOA, and clearly wrestling just doesn't seem to have come out of its mess. That it found itself in, and clearly there are people behind the scenes who are operating and who are sort of forcing these decisions to allow to force a champion athlete to come down below his compete below his or her weight category. So definitely, I think if you take on the powers that be in Indian sport and in Indian wrestling, then you are in trouble. That is the message that is being sent through all this. And I'm glad that the PM has spoken to Usha and the IOA chief and PT Usha and asked her to sort of investigate and at least lodge a protest or something. But I really doubt that will have much of a value, because at the end of the day, the decision has been made.
Yeah.
An infringement has been made, for which Vinesh will sadly be punished. Extremely devastating, absolutely. And really, this Olympics will be remembered for the nearly have-beens rather than for when it comes to India. Then a case of carrying happy
Absolutely.
memories beyond Manu Bhakar's two medals. So extreme
No,
case of
it is a tragic
a lot of
story,
so many
Gaurav,
near
given the
misses.
fact that this Olympics started off on such a promising note. On the first day we got a bronze medal, and the optimism at that point was at an all-time high. We were expecting medals in double digits in there, but as you pointed out, this has really been a case of so close yet so far.